This is Daf Yom Yerushalmi Orlah on the article for Hadar additional Daf Gimel Amrav. We're up to Vatina Im Lakat, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 lines down. Yeah, 8 lines down. And that in the Vilna is on Daf Zayin Amud Aleph. And uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11 lines up. First words in line are V'hot Taninon. So Reish Lakish said, we said yesterday, Reish Lakish said that the name Chizka, you can gather 3 eshkolos from this this kerem, which an atiyah of kilei kerem got mixed in, and bimavata l'chatchila. So the Gemara asks, what do you mean? And it said in our Mishnah, but Vataninon, didn't we learn that but raised the loyalkot. So it says that you shouldn't gather. So l'shavar sounds like b'diavad. If you didn't, okay, it says loyalkot. If you did, we're located. It's about 1 in 200. But it sounds like it's only b'diavad. You don't have to go l'chatchila and be mavato. But and then we learn also, continuing this question, it says not 3, it says 1 in 200. So what's going on here? Rabbi Yosef said, Kam shlika shlosha, kam shlika kulam. So Rabbi Yosef says, our mission is about you gather all of them. They have something with the b'diavad because involved is chatchila. But Shlosh said about you gather only 3 of them, and we assume that the Issa remains in the most of the saplings, the plants which remain in the ground, and it's like it's about the Issa Chatchila because you only gathered 3, and that's okay. It's a very big chiddush, but that is where Rebaz explains the Gemara and Levi Yerushalmi as well. Okay, so that's it says Kam Shikish Loisha, then it's both 1 and 2. Because we assume that the Isser and the rest of them there. When you call them Vato Kalshika Kulon, you have no choice but to assume the Isser is with the ones you gather. So therefore, it's only Bata 1 in 200. And again, Reish Lakish says we only gathering 3. It's okay. Chatchila, gather all of it. No, then the Evid it's Bata 1 in 200, but you can't do that Chatchila. Okay, so now Gemara says Tani Ribodei Badon Shesipku. So this is a brisa about that Mishnah we're going to learn later on in the Perek Gimel Mishnah Hey that pomegranates from Badon, which are if they were of Isser, they're not batel even bel because they're very chashuv. Okay, they're davar shel minyan. So that's only they're definitely in the mixture. But if they fell into Rimone Badon of Issa fell into a mixture heter and became Osir. And then some of these Rimone Badon fell elsewhere. Some of these pomegranates fell elsewhere. Since it's a suffix, if any of them remain actually in the mixture, it could be it's mutter. So that's what it's going to say here. Rimone Badon Shesipkon, where they became a suffix because maybe some fell out, maybe the also one fell out. Ma'ale Vedayon. Male, sorry. You can. It's bought there, batel. Vadayon, if it's definitely still there, ain't a male. Then of course it's a davar chashuv. It can't be male. So apakarka came. So let's say also mechuber karka, which is also not batel because of its significance as kavua, which is similar. Davar chashuv and kavua are very similar to each other. Davar chashuv is actually called kavua d'Rabbanan. So that it's safek karka male. That if it's a suffix, if it's there, then it's bato. Vade karka ain't a mala. Only if it's definitely there, it's not mala, it's not bato. Hechavida, what would be the case? The tia shol and the kerem, you have a sapling of orla, a sapling of kerem. She's arva ben tios, and got mixed up in other saplings. Suffix karka mala. If we're not sure if there actually is in the tia shol orla, tia shol kerem, then it should be bata. Vale karka ain't a male. If it's definitely there, then it's it's not bata. So the Gemara says, okay, just like we make the chiluk by Mei Badon, let's make the same chiluk by karka. And the also so Rabbi Yehuda Boyer, we don't want to say afle inyan nevela kain. Nevela is another type of kavod rabbanim, not the chashuv. Chatichol iskabi, which is a very similar concept. In other words, a piece of meat which is significant to give to a guest is not botel. So let's say the same thing. So that it's just like by Rimone Badon, if it's a suffix, it should be a problem, not bottle. But I'm sorry, if it's a vada, it should be a problem, not bottle. But if it's a suffix, it should be okay to be bottle. Chazar Rav Yudan, Amar Rav Yudan then changed his mind. He said no. He wanted to say it. He said nevela ein lo aliyah, a karka ish lo aliyah. He says, fascinating thing. He says by the ground. The stuff which goes to the ground. Since these fruits are meant to eventually be uprooted from the ground, and then they lose their chashivas. Grapes in themselves are not choshev. Whatever else it is, it's not choshev. So therefore, even if you have a mind to gather, even if you have a mind to gather them, if you have a mind to gather them, it's not batel. And when they badon, also they have when you're going to start eating them, you're going to peel them, and you peel them. The chashivas is batel. So therefore, a meko by a suffix. In other words, perhaps not there anymore. Perhaps there's some mitigating circumstance which makes it doubtful whether they're in the talgoivis or you meko. But chatichas nevela when you're going to come to eat from it, it's still going to be a whole piece. It's going to be a nice juicy steak. So therefore, even a suffix is not batel. A fasting and nafkamina. A suffix in a davar chashuv, a suffix in a davar mechubel karka. Since these are things where the status will be batel by the time it reaches your table, time you come to eat it. So therefore, in the case of a suffix, you can be meko. Okay, you can assume it's that the issue went away, and you can say it's batel. It's not considered to be involved in issue chatchila. But by the case of nevela, so even if you're not sure, and perhaps this chaticha uskabi avela fell away, you can't make that assumption because when it reaches your table and you come to eat it, it's still chaticha uskabi. So therefore, it's not going to be batel. I don't know if this. I don't think this nafkamina is brought down la halacha. Not that I recall. Okay, the article brings out a slew of other pshatim. I don't think it goes with this pshat, which is the Gra and the Leib Yerushalayim, but I think that is the most glat pshat in the sugya, so we will go with it. Okay, in the Mishnah we said, Rabbi Yossi Amar Afis Kavin Yilkov Yalu Bechem Yisrael. We quote this over here. The Rabbi Yossi Amar Afis Kavin Yilkov Yalu Bechem Yisrael. My time, Rabbi Yossi. Why is Rabbi Yossi allow this? And Nakas is about the Isser Chatchila. Shchein derech me'od lios meida b'ukfanim. So this is because people normally thin out their grapevines, so it doesn't look like what he's being about the Isser Chatchila. It looks like he's thinning out his grapevines. And as we mentioned in the Mishnah, that obviously holds the issue of Isser Chatchila is that it shouldn't look like about the Isser Chatchila. He does. People are going to come and do this. Here it doesn't look like that, and it's that extenuating circumstances makes it permissible. Talmud Tznina, we learned over there in Chumas, Perak Hey Mishnah Gimel. A say of Truma which fell into 100 of Chulin. It says if you know that this is talking about, let's say, wheat. If you know that the chitin of Chulin are better than the chitin of Truma which fell in, it's permissible. That means that when you grind it, it's going to increase the volume. Now you don't have. That's Gemara says. If you grind them and they if you grind them and they get. I should have jumped the gun. Okay, let's go. Just ignore what I said for a minute. Tami is such a much novel male. You have a stuff true which fell to 100, so it's bato. Tachin and paksu, and now it's you ground them and it's it becomes diminished because of the grinding. The volume shrinks. So I say just like the chulin, the diminished side, the truma diminished side, and it is mutter. And the end of Mishnah says that if you know that the chitin are of chulin are yofos mishel truma, then it's mutter because even if initially there wasn't 100, but now when you ground it wasn't 100, the ratio increased. You say, okay, the chulin increased, and now it's mebatel the truma and it's batel. Tani, we learned it should say here the Gra and the Yerushalmi Trumas both change it too. Gra change it to what it says Yerushalmi Trumas. If you know the chitin are yafos and the proportion of chitin yafos and it's going to go up in proportion to the truma when you grind it, you can allow to grind the chatchila to be matir it. So Rabbi Zira. So what about aim about is chatchila? Rabbi Zira said divra koli. Everybody agrees this is okay. Shekain derech kohen lios tochnin. Even if you're going to give it to the kohen, he's going to grind it himself. Right? You're going to give them a duma, the mixture, the kohen. He's going to grind it. So it's not about it's a chatchila because this is the normal way in which things are going to progress. So what's it? What does it make if you do it or the kohen does it? Right? Shekain derech kohen lios tochnin meduma tolpotein. The kohen are going to do it themselves. Manafik what's the difference between the two reasons? In other words, the one reason is that it's not the derech to it is the derech people to be made of kfanim, so therefore it's not and this other reason, which we give at it is the derech of kohanim to grind. So nafkamina is kili akerem. So al daited Rabbi Yossi token umatir. So if you have chitin of kili akerem, which fell to less than 200 of chitim, which are superior chitim, and we know that if you grind, it's going to be more than 200 to 1. It's going to be bato. It's going to be Rabbi Yossi. It's a normal derech. It's made of b'kfanim. Normal derech is bitoichen, so you can be toichen. And it's going to be bato. It's not a problem. It's bato 1 in 200. Okay, so that's not going to be valid in Isachatchila. But according to Daited Rabbanan, according to Rabbi Zira, that he says there, but specifically by Truma, you're allowed to be talking Lechatchila because the coin's going to be talking anyway. But Kila Kem, which are also, nobody's going to grind them. The Kohen can grind Meduma because he's allowed to eat Meduma. But Kila Kem, nobody's going to be able to grind them. Going to be allowed to grind them. Because they're also to everybody. Because therefore, you will not be able to grind them Lechatchila in order to be battle the Isser in them. There's no derech, so therefore it would remain also. That's the nafkamina between the two things. If you hold that what the normal derech is, right, and therefore the normal derech would be to grind whatever chitim you have, or if you hold that it's going to be done. It's not just normal; it's going to be done, and therefore that would only apply by truma, would not apply by kilei akar. It's interesting to note that it's Simpei Daled in Nichos Tolem and Yardea. So if worms are found in are prevalent in flour, in grain, you can't, I guess, identify them to remove them. And the question is, if you grind them, the worms are going to be ground up and they're going to be batel. So you're allowed to grind them up and be mabatel it. And the psak is, I'm looking at Aruch HaShulchan here, Sim Pei Dal, Sif Pei Vav, that you're allowed to grind them up with chatchila. So that's mashma like we say here, that even though now it has worms, also nobody's allowed to have worms. It's not like meduma. Nevertheless, since the derech is to grind, so therefore it'd be mutter to do, and you're allowed to grind it up. And batel is like the svara to be matir in the Gemara. Okay, we'll stop here for today.